So guys, this is your host trainer, that Sarvesh Gaikwad, and I am your CCNA trainer, and I am conducting these sessions on the behalf of the NDP networks. Right? May I audible, everybody? Please
Yeah,
confirm
you
in the
are.
chat. So basically, we are start from the CCNA certifications path. What is the CCNA exactly? This is the networking syllabus. Mostly, we are use this program to configure the various networking devices. That is, routers, switches, firewalls, and some security appliances. Right. So we have the some certifications path here. Only CCNA, we are conducting the session on the CCNA routing and switching. But uh, amongst that, different kind of CCNA also available to take the career onto that. Here I'm going to show you the slides about the CCNA certifications path. Everybody get my screen? Hello.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Can you just make it little large?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Now, how is it okay?
Yeah.
So this is the certifications path. Here, the first entry level certification, that is the CCNE, and the associate level certification, that is called a CCNA. With the CCNA, the first certification, that is called CCDA, that is in a data centers. CCNA in wireless also available. CCNA in voice, and CCNA in security. Into the CCNA security, we need to configure the firewall also, some security appliances also. And after that, the CCNA, that is called Cisco Certified Network Associate Service Provider. That is the CCNA that belongs from the ISP level. And another CCNA certification, that is called the CCNA Routing and Switching. Here we are conducting the sessions onto the CCNA Routing and Switching. Right. CCNA in data center is also available, and CCNA in service provider also available. And if you want to go to the upper level, that is called professional level, that is called CCNP level, there is a certification for also. Every certifications have, we are going to the indicating that is in to the arrow, that is called, if you go through the CCN routing and switching, after you can do the CCNP. And after you can do the CCI also, that is called expert level certification. Here, CCNA routing and switching, Cisco provide some examinations, that is called 20301. It has a 1,000 marks exam, and you need to the passing score, that is called 820 marks is your passing score if you are conducting the exams also. Is it okay? Hello? Is it okay? Everybody got my points?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If you have any questions regarding the certifications part, you can ask me. Or you can chat. Or you don't have any questions regarding the certifications part? Shall I proceed? Next slide. Okay.
What about CCND?
CCND. There is a CCDP. There is not a CCND to that. CDP also is there. That is called data center professionals. Hello.
Yeah, there is a certification for networking devices, interconnecting Cisco networking devices, basic certifications. Here it's not showing.
CCNT, that is called basic certification. That is called entry level certification. I hear CCNT, sorry. That is called CCNT, right? It's the basic certifications. Before the 20 and 301 certifications, we have the two books that is called ICND1 and ICD2, right? If you going to the ICND1, that is called CCNT, right? This is the basic and entry level certification. After you can go to the routing and switching. Into that, into the CCND, we are conducting some networking based networking. That is networking devices, some protocols, IP addresses, subnetting, the basics of the networks and network types. This kind of things we are conducting in the CCND. That is called entry level certification provided by the Cisco. If you go with the CCNA, the both are included. The basic networking also including the CCNA routing and switching, and routing and switching, the programming level certificate theory also you will be fine into the CCNA certification. As per my view, you can go with the CCNA routing and switching. That is the better for all the candidates. That is my view. What do you think that is good? Is it okay?
Yeah, got it.
We're going to the next slide. With the routing and switching. What is the exactly routing? We are here to conduct the demonstration, and we are here to conduct some routing concepts. I need to clear the routing concept first. What is the routing exactly before start my OSPF practicals or OSPF thing? Is it okay now? Exactly sections and objectives in chapter 1. Router initial configuration. What is the router initial configuration? Routing decisions, and what is the router operations? We are conducting here these things into the routing chapters. This is the characteristics of a network. Network characteristics. What is the topology? Exactly topology in the sense which routers are connected to the ISP, internet service provider. Which routers connected to the customer premises area, and which router connected to the ISP. This is the whole things going comes into the topology. That is the topological views or design network design views of the network, right? Then the speed, how much speed the particular site or particular network want. What is the cost exactly? We are deploy the devices. This is the costly devices. Security. We are what kind of security we are providing the particular networks. If we are configuring the networks. Availability, the data availability, and the access availability also is there. Scalability, reliability. This network must be reliable and trustful. This is the network characteristics of the router functions, right? Exactly what the router did. The router established the network between two or more different networks. If we have the two different networks, such kind of the one network belong from the 192 network, and another networks belong from the 10 series networks, right? If you want to connect, if you want to establish the communication between two or more networks, we need to deploy the router device, and into the router device we need to configure the routing. Basically, the routing. What is the concept of the routing? The routing, the programs we need to configure into the router. That router are capable. After that, the router capable to connecting the different networks, different network routers. Here we are showing some diagram to view. That is called a topological view of the particular network. Why routing? Why we are studying the routing, and why we are doing the routing? Here, the home office. I'm going to the wireless. I'm connecting the wireless router and connecting to the routers, that routers to the laptop and to my systems also, right? And that router connected to the WAN switches and WAN switch connected to your internet, right? This is my home office, this is my LAN network, and LAN network are connected to my WAN network. That is called internet, right? This is the central office, this is the branch office, and every office have their own routers. Why they are keeping the routers? Because the router is the device that are used to connect two or more different networks. Here, the home office is the different network. Here, the central office is the different network, and branch office are different networks. That is the reasons. Here we are configuring the router, and into the routers we are configuring the routing. Routing is the techniques that are used to establish or provide the route for the data packets. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Routers are specialized computer containing the following: the required components to operate. The central router has some devices, and what is the devices exactly that we can compare with the computers. CPU is there into the router. Operating system, that is called iOS, Internet Working Operating System. The router have the memory storage. The router have RAM, ROM, NVRAM, and flash drive, hard drive. These are the devices that internally deploy into the router, and onto that reasons the router is configuring some programs and establish the communication between your networks and provide the route to the data also, right? Here the network capable device, right? Memory and storage, CPU and operating systems have into the router. In the operating systems, store into the NVRAM, flash drive, right? The RAM also provide the present configuration, that execute the present configuration, whatever command or whatever configurations you are configuring into the routers. The RAM are execute that kind of configurations. This is the back panel of the routers. Here we are going to show this is the serial and serial port. We need to connect this port using the DC cable to the modem, right? This is the 4 GB flash card slot we have, that is called big card also. WIC WAN interface card also, that calls also, right? The second one is the Ethernet port. We need to connect this Ethernet port. That is a LAN interface. That is also called the LAN interface. This is the LAN interface. This connected to the switch, and we can connect directly to the PC also. That is auxiliary port. That is the remote administrative port. Auxiliary port, also called the AUX port, right? And there is also a console port. If we are configuring the router directly, we need to have the console cable and connect into the console port. That is how the RJ45 port. And if you are connecting your console cable into the console port and the other end to your PC, you need to have some software that is called hyperterminal, that is called Teraterm. This kind of software you need to have to configure the routers, right? To configure the router, and your laptops get the terminal access of the particular router using this software. What is the software exactly? The two softwares are working mostly. That is called Teraterm, and another one is a hyperterminal. If you are going to the hyperterminal, this is the free trial for the 15 days. If you're going to the Teraterm, you can use this Teraterm, and easily you can use Teraterm without cost, and it will get the terminal of the routers, right? Some software also is there that is called Putty. You need to install the Putty software into your laptop, then connect your console cable to your laptop into the serial port, and you can get the terminal of the routers, right? This is the back panel of the routers mostly used. We need to connect the modem also here into the serial port using the DCE cable. We need to connect auxiliary port if you want to get the administrative signals. If you want to configure the routers, connect your console cable into the console port. If you want to connect the router to a switch or access point, you need to connect the straight cable or cross cable into the LAN port. That is called LAN interface, also called. Here we have to configure the operating system using the pen drive. You can use the USB ports also. Here router have the USB port also. This is the back panel of the router. We have, right. So here I'm showing some routers, computers, in the sense router devices, which router devices are working, what kind of working they have. Here the memory, random access memory. This is called a volatile memory. That provides a temporary storage. Volatile in the sense temporary storage. If you give the program, if you configure some command into the router, under the particular time of period, it will be erased, because RAM only execute the data, running onto the iOS, running configurations file, IP routing and ARP tables also running. Okay, and that is called a packet buffer. If you have the packet, if you want to send the packets to the routers, the RAM will provide the packet buffer also, right? The second memory is called the random access memory, read-only memory. That is called ROM. That is called non-volatile memory. This is permanent storage of the router. Basic diagnostic softwares into the store into the RAM. Boot up program or boost up instruction. Some preliminary instructions stored into the ROM. Limited iOS in a case the router cannot lead the full featured iOS, right? Non-volatile random access memory, that is called NVRAM. Non-volatile and volatile memory that provides a permanent storage for the startup configuration. If you start or power on the routers, some informations comes into your interfaces. That information comes from the NVRAM. That is called startup configurations files, we call it. Right? Another memory is called a flash memory. It's stored mostly iOS. That is the router operating system, internet working operating system. We also call it today, and other system related files. These are the memory the routers have, and all the memories have the different works. Some memories the volatile, and some memories the non-volatile. Some memories store the data temporarily, because they need to execute the present configuration, right? And some memory we have that is called read-only memory. They have the non-volatile memory. They need to use the permanent storage like a bootstrap program, diagnostic software program, limited OS related to the, for examples, we have the BIOS setup into the computers, right? BIOS program into the computer, the BIOS program stored into the RAM. Also, router have their own BIOS program that is called diagnostic software, and the bootstrap instruction program that's stored into your read-only memory. These are the core memory router have mostly, and it is utilized for the execution and store the operating systems out, right? Is it okay?
Yeah, sir. Okay.
The routers interconnect networks. Here we have the home LAN networks that connected to the internet. That become the WAN network, wide area networks, right? Central office, and all these three offices are connected to via routers, right? Also, I am before this slide, I am telling to you routers basically called the routers, right? It's provide the base path. What is the base path exactly? If we have the options to going through somewhere, two or more options we have to going to somewhere. Router decide a base path to send the data to the particular destination. If we have two or more route, the router select the base route to send the data to the particular destination. That is called the base path selections that provided by the routers. Routers use the static routes and dynamic routing protocols to learn about remote networks and build their routing tables. Dynamic routing protocols, in the sense, we are using the configurations dynamically, automatically. The dynamic routing protocols, we have the OSPF, we have the RIP, we have the EIGRP, we have the BGP. These are the dynamic routing protocols that configured the route automatically. We need to put only a network informations to these protocols, right? Routers are use routing tables to determine the base path to send the packets. Yeah, the router provide the base route to the particular packet to send the data packet to the particular destination. Router encapsulate the packet and forward it to the interface indicated in the routing interface. Routers provide the encapsulation. Encapsulation in the sense they provide the security to the data packet, right? If you send the router the data packet to the particular destination, that data packets are securely sent to the via network, right? Router functions, that is packet forwarding method, process switching in older packet forwarding mechanism still available for Cisco routers, right? Cisco routers have the mechanism to older packet forwarding. First switching, a common packet forwarding mechanism which uses a first fast switching cache to store next to hop informations. Router get the hop information of the particular destination. Cisco Express routing, CEF, the most recent, fastest, and preferred Cisco iOS packet forwarding mechanism. These are the packet forwarding methods that provided by the Cisco routers, right? Especially Cisco routers. Router also called the default gateways. If you provide the default gateway IP to your system, that is mostly your router IP address, router interface IP address, router LAN interface IP address. Here, some diagram I'm showing to you. Here, your PC that have the IP address 192.168.1.110. And what is the router interface IP address? 192.168.1.1. This is the IP address that is your gateway IP address of your system, of your server. Here we have the FTP server, here we have the PC2, and all these three machines have the only a default gateway IP that is called 192.168.1.1. Exactly, what is the default gateway? That is the entrance and exit path of the sending the data to the particular destination. If you are sending the data using this gateway, using the router interface, that kind of router interface, that is called a gateway of your system. Here we have the LAN interface IP of the router, that is called a gateway of the all the systems and your network server, right? To enable network access device must be configured with the following IP address information. Here I am explaining all these things are already, right? Below we have the IPv6 IP address. All systems have the IPv6 of the IP address already there. And subnet pass we need to put the to every system, right? What is the Pre-requirement to connect the system to the internet. The first thing is your IP address. The second thing is your subnet mask. Third thing is your default gateway, that is called the router interface IP address. And third thing is your DNS server IP address. These identifications are mostly used to connect your system to your internet. Connect devices, document network addressing. The network documentation should include at least the following in a topology diagram and addressing a table: device names, interfaces, IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway. Already I am explaining all these things. Here, the R1 routers, the R1 router have the LAN interfaces that nodes named by the fast Ethernet 0/0 that have the IP address 192.168.1.1, right? And the router have the serial interface that connected to your another different network routers that have the IP address 192.168.2.1, and another R2 routers have the interface S0/0 serial 0/0/0, and that have the IP address 192.168.2.2, and the interface is fast Ethernet. This is the another network 3.1, 192.168.3.1. This is the different network, and this is the different network. 192.168.1.1 is the different network, and 192.168.3.1. This is the different network. And all if you we are configuring the routing into the router 1 and router 2, both the networks can communicate to each other. It means that the PC1 and PC2, the PC1 IP addresses have the PC1 IP addresses have 192.168.1.1, and PC2 IP addresses have 192.168.3.10. These two different network systems can communicate because of the routers, and we need to configure the routing into the routers. Right here, there's some plan that is called routing informations. Here we have the router 1 have these interfaces and these IP addresses into that interfaces, and this is the subnet mask of the router. For the routers, we need to need not to define the default gateway to the routers. Router own self has the default gateway of the system. There is no need to provide the default gateway IP address of the to the routers. Right. The PC1. Here we have the IP address of the PC1 subnet mask and default gateway, and PC2. Here we have the IP address, the 192.168.3.10, and this is the subnet mask, and this is your default gateway. All these informations have into your PC and routers. That is the reasons the systems can communicate with the another systems that have both have in a different networks. That is called document network addressing. We have that is called topological diagrams. The routers have we are configuring the dynamic routing into the router. Right. Here I am showing the enable IP on host statically. We can provide the two types of IP addresses here. That is statically, and one is the dynamically IP address. Right. What is the statically IP address? We need to configure the IP address manually. One by one, we need to put the IP address into the IP address box, subnet mask box, and into the default gateway box. Right. And if we are selecting the dynamically assigned IP address options, that is, we need to configure the IP address provided by the DHCP routers. Right. It is automatically assigned the IP address, and that IP address provided by the DHCP routers. Here I am showing some practical to you of the DHCP router. What is the DHCP router? What is the DHCP IP address, and what is the manually or statically IP address? How can assign to the systems? Is it okay? I'm showing you practically how the IP address is assigned to your systems. DHCP using the DHCP server and using the manual. Are you able to see my screen? Practical interface?
Yes.
So here the routers interface into your system that is called Cisco Packet Tracer, right? Also, some kind of tools for the practice and practical session that is called GNS also used, right? But comfortably, if you go to the Cisco Packet Tracer, that is very comfortable tools to doing the practical. And so, if you want to live experience, then go to your GNS tools. We have the both tools here, and we need to we will be conducting the practicals onto the Cisco Packet Tracer also and GNS also. So if you click onto the routers, here we are showing some routers. And if you can click onto the switches, here we will be show some switch also here. And this is the PC and server. Click here. Paste. If you want to connect a router to your switch, the decide some cable. That is a straight cable are used to connect. That is called fast Ethernet port. It is also called the LAN Ethernet, also called the Gigabit Ethernet. If you have the higher configurations or a high costly router, you have the Gigabit Ethernet port. If you have the medium range of router, you need to have fast Ethernet interface. Here we are used to connect the router to the switch using the straight cable. Select the port also and connect to switch fast connect port. Right. Here I am taking a cable that is called a straight cable. Right. All these things I am going to the real environment whenever start our full sessions of the CCNA. Here I am connecting the router to the switch using the straight cable. Also, we are use the cable, straight cable, to connecting the switch to PC. Now I am going to the systems. Here is the desktop options. Into the real system, that is another options. I will be show you. Don't worry. If you click onto the IP configurations box, here we have the two options that is called DHCP and one is the static IP address. If you select the static IP address, we need to put IP address manually. I'm going to give IP address to the system 10.0.0.2 and I'm putting the IP address. Here I'm going to put the IP address that I'm given to the routers. That is called default gateway IP address. So I'm giving the IP address manually to the system. Now I'm configured the router interface, and I'm need to give IP address to the router also. That is which is the IP address of the router, the 10.0.0.1 IP address. Here I'm taking a laptop, right? and I am connecting this laptop using the console cable of the and connect the console port of the router and connect to your laptop serial interface, that is RS232 we know, right? If you connect the laptop to the router, click onto the laptop, go to the desktop. I'm also telling to you the terminal that is called hyperterminal. Here we have the hyperterminal softwares into the laptop. I'm clicking onto the terminal. I'm clicking onto the OK, and here we got the router terminal interface. We need to do here, not we don't want automatical configurations. We need to configure them manually, the routers. Enter. Then we will got these information, these basic information provided by the NVRAM of the routers. This is the startup configurations. Here the information that provided by the NVRAM. And now whatever I am configuring into the router executed by the RAM. Here I am going to the enabling the router, that is the command enable. The full command is enable and shortcut is the enable. I am going to do enabling the router interface. The command is enable. This is hash sign that represent you are enabling the router interface. Then after that, you need to go the configurations mode. The command is for the configurations mode config terminal. That is a full command. If you going to the shortcut, that is we need to put the config T only. That is the configurations mode of the router. I am going to the configured IP address to the fast Ethernet port of the router. And what is the fast Ethernet port name? The fast Ethernet port name of the router, that is called interface F0/0. Here I am going to show you. This is called a fast Ethernet. This is the name. And this is the configure interface of the router. After that, I'm going to configure IP address to the fast Ethernet. The IP address, what is the IP address? I need to go to configure the router fast Ethernet interface port, the 10.0.0.1. And here the class A IP address we have taken. So we are take the class A subnet mask that represent your networks. Then enter. Then put the command no shut to no shutting the device. Then exit. Now I am configured the fast Ethernet port of the router, and this is the gateway IP address of your all systems that we are connected to your network. See, here are green signals is there that represent the particular port are configured using this IP address, right? Now I am going to show the network are configured or not of the both PCs. This is the only LAN network. I am showing you the LAN network. I am connected to the router also, but not connected to the another router also, right? I am pinging to the router first. This is my first PC. I am noted here. That is called PC1. That is called PC2. I am pinging from the PC1 to the router. That is called ping command. The ping. What is the use of the ping command exactly? The ping command are used. Hello.
Sir, I am not able to see any terminal or command.
Okay, you are not. Just a second.
Sir, even I also not able to use.
Okay. Got it.
I didn't saw your CLI,
Okay.
any command from starting onward.
Also.
Just a second. Just a second. Give me 2 minutes, please. Now you can see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, now I can see.
Here is the laptop interface. Here is the laptop interface. I'm going to the terminal options and going to your terminal configurations option. I'm clicking OK. And here we got the terminal. You can see the terminal of the router right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the black screen and the some basic configuration of the router.
Yes.
Okay. Here, this is the information that is stored into your NVRAM. Basic information of the routers. And this is the terminal of the routers. Now I'm going to the type here no for the not automatically configuration. We need to configure manually the router. Right. This is the router interface. Right. I am going to enable the router interface. Command is enable command. You can put the shortcut also, that is called EN. And here the hash represent you are enabling the router. Right. After that, we need to configure config T command, configure terminal command. Right. The shortcut of this command, this is the config T, and the full command is the configure terminal. Right. And I'm entering here. Here we are showing the router interface. You are in a configurations mode. Now you can configure the interface. What is the interface exactly? We need to configure the interface name is the fast Ethernet port. I am here to do configure the fast Ethernet port F0/0. That is the shortcut of the fast Ethernet port F0/0. Interface F0/0. I am need to configure this interface. And now I am configured the router. Now I am assigning the IP address that interface. What is the IP address I am assigning here? 10.0.0.1, and the subnet mask is the 255.0.0.0. Right. Then I am putting the command that is for node-shed to node-shed the interface and exit. Everybody see this screen?
Yes, I am saying.
Okay. This is the basic configurations to configure the particular port. Which is the port? The fast Ethernet F0/0. We are configuring this IP address of the particular port, and this is the IP address we are putting as the default gateway IP address of the system. Now I am showing you the PC1 config panel. Here is the command prompt options, and I need to put the command into the PC1 that is called ping packet internet network grouper. This command are used to check the network connections between between two systems. I am here the ping command and the IP address of the router. I'm entering here. The 4-time reply comes into your PC because I'm configuring these configurations, this kind of configurations into my system. That is statically I'm configured the IP address, the 110.0.0.2, and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and the default gateway is 10.0.0.1. That is the reasons I need to ping. I need to get the reply from the routers, and also I am pinging to my second system, the IP address of the second system, the PC2 system, that is 10.0.0.3. Here also we got the reply message that is called 4-time echo reply that comes from the PC2, that is called ICMP reply also. It means that that is called TT reply, time to leave reply. That means that your PC2 and PC1 also can be communicated to each other. Is it okay? Here I am showing to you how we can configure the IP address manually to the system. Is it okay? I am configuring the IP address manually. That is called static IP address. That is called static IP address. Now I am going to.
Hello.
Hello.
Where is the screen, sir?
Okay.
I'm not able to see.
Now.
Yeah, not seeing.
Please
Hello.
check again. Please check again. I'm sharing this screen.
Yeah, now
Okay.
it's seeing.
Okay. Now I am configured the DHCP configurations onto the router. How the system got automatically IP address. Everybody got my screen? Hello?
Yes, now I am seeing the Cisco packet of
Okay, okay.
tab.
Okay. Now we are going to configure the DHCP configuration onto the router. How the router can provide a IP address to the systems if the systems click onto the automatically or DHCP IP address aside, right? How we can configure the DHCP configurations onto the router? I'm going to the click onto the laptop also. Everybody show my terminal, laptop terminal.
Yes.
Yes,
Now I am configuring the already this IP address to the particular interface that is called pass Ethernet interface W/0, right? You need to must configure this interface with this IP address, or you can use any networks, any network IP address. You can use the 192 range also. You can use the another class IP address also, right? I'm here use a class IP address that is called 10.0.0.1. Now the command is I'm going given the name to them. The second command is default router is, that is my router IP address 10.0.0.1. Another and to configure the DNS server IP address. If you have the DNS server, you need to put the DNS server IP address. Now presently I don't have the DNS server. I am putting the router IP address. Need to assign the network. Here take the router network, because router defines your network. That's called 10.0.0.1. Now you can put the network here. That is in a router network, that is called 10.0.0.0, and configure the subnet mask here. Then enter. Exit. Then exit. Here is configurations of the DHCP. It's called IP DHCP pool. Name of the pool, that is called NDP. Then I am configuring the default router. This default router provide a default gateway to your systems. This is the DNS server IP address, and this is the network of the particular network addresses. And in these networks, the routers are providing the IP address to your systems using these networks. That is the range of the networks. Now I'm going to see you PC configuration here. A second. I'm stop the sharing. I'm sharing some PC. Wait. Right. Now I'm sharing a PC screen here. That is called PC1. Sorry. PC1. Click onto the IP configuration of the PC1 and click onto the DHCP. Wait. Here you highlighted IP address provided by the DHCP router 10.0.0.1, and the default subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and default gateway is 10.0.0.1, and DNS IP address also 10.0.0.1. Right. This is the IP address that are provided when we are clicking onto the obtain IP address automatically of the system. Right, and this IP address provided by your DHCP router. Also, another PC. Wait for the screen. This is the another PC. I'm clicking onto the IP configuration, and here I'm clicking onto the DHCP. Here we got the IP address from the router. That router have the DHCP configuration. That is the reasons the router will be able to provide the IP address as per the request of the system, client system. That is called DHCP, and obtain automatically IP address configurations of the router. Right? If you going to ping to the router and the PC1, your network will be established. Both IP address are connected to your PC. Is it okay?
Yeah, is it okay?
Now I am going to the presentation slides. Everybody see my screen? This is the things
Yeah.
I will be practically through. The enable IP on a host, and statically how the statically you can assign the IP address to the system, and how we dynamically assign IP address to the system. If you see my screen, the here is the real time screenshot I'm taking under the presentation. If you click onto the IP address configuration of your systems or laptop, you will got this option that is called IP address assign IP address assign automatically, and use the following IP address. Right. Use the following IP address options. Option represent the static IP address. We need to put a manually, and if you clicking onto the IP address, obtain an IP address automatically. These options represent your systems. Send the request to the nearest DHCP router, and your DHCP router provided the IP address dynamically, automatically to your system. This is the screen. If you going to the network options of your systems, this is the IP address configurations windows that we have into the Windows operating systems. Here, the option is that is called obtain an IP address. This is the interface of the router. That is called gigabyte interface. S link in the sense, and L link. All both letters are here. That is called link green. Link is active, or link is inactive. Off if your link is blinking the orange LED or red LED. Here, auxiliary port, console port of the router, right? Here I am going to the already give the information about the Teraterm software, PuTTY software. You need to have in your laptop and PC. If you want to configure the routers using the console cable, we need to have this software PuTTY and Teraterm, and also the another software is the Hyperterminal. Right? We need to connect your console cable to your console port of the router, and another end connect to your laptop or system into the serial port. If you don't have the serial port, use USB Type A port, right? That is also possible to connect your router to your system using the console port, right? Yeah, already I am given this IP address configuration. It's called IP address, subnet mask, IP default gateway, right? The switch configurations is there. I'm also given these configurations. That is the configurations I am teaching to you right now, right? The descriptions link, IP address, no shutdown, exit, interface, gigabyte internet, F0/0. Right now, we are going to the practical skill. How the both two routers are connected to each other, and how we can configure the OSPF protocol onto the routers, and how the different network routers or different network can establish the communication between between of them. Uh, uh, Now we can see on the practical level, right? Already we configured the router 1, and we need to take only a router 2. can able to see my screen, the practical screen.
Yes.
Now I'm taking those people are connected late. Please focus onto this practical, because I'm taking the new router here and configuring the newly. I'm clicking the routers. Here my second router I'm taking here. I'm clicking onto the switch. This is my switch. I'm connecting the switch using the straight cable. This is the compulsory. You need to use the straight cable to connecting your router to your switch using the fast Ethernet port. I'm taking the fast Ethernet port of the router to connecting the fast Ethernet port 10/0/1 of the switch. Now I'm taking two systems here. And connecting these two systems using the straight cable also. This is my another router network, that is a 20.0.0.1. And 3.0.0.1 system IP address that is called PC1 IP address 20.0.0.2. Another PC2 IP address which was I'm connecting the console cable to the console port of the router. If you want to connect the two routers to each other, we need to have the DC cable. That is, this is cable, the serial DC cable. We need to connect this cable to the serial port of the router. Before that, we need to have WAN interface card into your router. If you have the WAN interface card into your router, that is called a weak port. You will be able to connect using the DC cable to the board router. So everybody can see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the router interface screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Here I am taking WAN interface card. That is called WIC1T and insert it. Before that, you need to off the router, turn off the router. Take this WIC card and insert your router and turn on the router again. Click onto the second router, turn off the router. Then click on WIC1T. You can take one of these and insert into the router and turn on the router. Now presently, this weak card already inserted into the router. If you are going to the real time environment, the already router, mostly new routers have their own weak card inserted into them, right? There is no need to insert a weak card into the router. I'm connecting these two routers using the DC cable and clicking onto the DC cable. Connect this serial interface to these serial interface. That is the interface name, serial interface 0/2/0, and here is also the same name, that is called serial interface 0/2/0. Now I'm going to do the IP address range to those serial interface, that is 192.168.0.1. This is the serial interface IP address, and into the same network of the serial interface, I'm going to the another IP address to the another serial interface router with 192.168.0.2. Everybody got my point? Now we have the two different networks, that is 10.0.0.1 and another network is 20.0.0.1. Now I am going to configure the router. Please inform me if you see my screen, guys. Everybody see my router screen?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to configure the router interface again. I am enabling the routers. Then another command is configure terminal. Then I am configuring the fast Ethernet port, that is called F0/0. Then configuring the IP address to them, that is the IP address is 10.0.0.1. The subnet mask, this is the subnet mask. Then put the no shut command. Exit. Then after that, I am configuring the serial interface, that is called S0/2/0. And enter, then configure the IP address to them. What is the IP address I need to configure to the serial interface? That is 192.168.0.1, 255.0.0.c2. This is the serial interface IP address. Then I am putting the no shut command here. Then exit. This is the both interface of the router I am configured here. The first interface is your fast Ethernet 0/0, and second interface is the first interface, and this is the second interface. To the first interface, I am given this IP address 10.0.0.1, and the second interface of the router, that is called serial interface, I am giving the IP address to them 192.168.0.1. This is the first router I ever configured here, and I'm going on to the second router also. Wait for the screen. Click onto the second router. I'm showing the screen of the second router interface. Here is my second router interface. There is a no command. Here is the enable command. In config key. All this command I already explained. If you have the doubt, you can ask me under the chat box. .20.0.0.1. I am here to configure the IP address to the another router pass in the interface, that is 20.0.0.1, 255.0.0.0. This is the subnet pass. Then go to no set command, exit, then interface S0/2/0 command, then IP address command. The IP address, what is the serial interface IP address? 192.168.0.2. Subnet mask is class C subnet mask 0. Now the second router interface, both interface I have configured here. That is a fast Ethernet and a serial interface. Right. Now I have configured the OSPF. What is the OSPF routing? OSPF, that is called Open System Path Open System Path Protocol. This is the link state protocol, mostly used on the large network, right? Router OSPF. Open shorted path first, then administrative distance. Enter. Define the network. One network, first network is 0, and I am providing here the wildcard mask. And then define I am here area. Second network is wildcard mask 5 area 0. Then I can check. Yes. Here is the configuration from the second router. And the first router. Now I am configuring the first router. So that's PF administrative number. And define the network. What is the network of the first router? That is a 10.0.0.0. And I am putting the wildcard mask here. area 0. Then serial interface network. Then 0.0.0.255. Then area 0. Okay, here I am configured the OSPF protocol, that is called dynamic protocol, that is called routing protocol. And here is comes the router's adjacency message, that is called NPR, nearest router discovered by my routers, by my host router. Here we have got the message that is called process 10, process ID 10, in neighbor routers, setting my the first router interface and IP address 192.168.0.2, the serial interface of the serial second router of the serial 2 interface, right? Here I am going to exit, put the exit command. I am pinging from here to the second router. The first I am verify the root. For that reasons I am putting the command show IP root. Then enter. Here the O represented, you are configuring the OSPF router, and your network are connected to your 20 networks. Your 10 network 10.0.0.0 networks are connected to your 22nd router 20 network, right? Via 192.168.0.2 routers using this interface, this serial interface. I am pinging here 20 network. It shows me a 100% success rate. It means that I am sending the ICMP echo packets to the 20.0.0.1 interface of the second router. The reply is 100% success rate. And I am sending these ICMP packets to the PC also. Just a second, 0 is replied because I didn't give the IP address to the second PC, second router PCs. Wait a second, I'm giving the IP address to this. 20. Now I am ping again to the second router PC. Here is the 180% ratio because 20% is lost. Right now, I am also pinging next time. The 100% success ratio is there. That is the that comes from the 20.0.0.2 IP address. That is the system 2, system 1 of the second network. The both networks are connected to each other. The both networks are, belongs from the different networks, right? Here I am going to this show you the diagram, real-time diagram. Here is the diagram. The first serial interface of the IP address, that is called 192.168.0.1, and second router serial interface IP address, that is called 192.168.0.2. And another this is the networks, local network, that is called private network, 10.0.0.1 IP address. This is the different network, and this is the 10 network, this is the different network. And if you are sending the data packets or ICMP packet from PC1 and to the second network, PC1, here the successfully ratios are sent, successfully the data packets or ICMP packets are sent. Now, using the OSPF protocol, we configured routing under the both router and both different network that belongs from the different identity. The both different networks are connected to each other and successfully they are sending the data packets to each other. Right? Is it okay?
Yes.
We can going to the brief when your real sessions was established. We are going to the brief or to the OSPF also. This is only a demo sessions. I am showing practically because we have the time limitations also. That is the reason I couldn't doing up theory, much more theory about the OSPF. Is there any doubts? You can ask me.
Thank you all guys for joining the batch, and please do fill the feedback form. You may leave.